The year is 1918. The sky over St. Mihiel is tearing itself apart. 1,500 Allied aircraft, Spads, Camels, Brigettes, are swarming 500 German fighters in the largest air battle the world has ever seen. Canvas wings shredding in crosswinds, tracers arcing between biplanes close enough to see each other's faces, engines screaming at 130 miles an hour. But let's change one thing. Above the clouds, climbing through air no propeller can reach is something no one in 1918 has a word for: a single-seat stealth fighter, an F-35A Lightning II, the most sensor-fused combat aircraft ever built, alone against a war fought with wood and fabric. And it won't stop here. Today, the Lightning fights every air force that has ever flown. The opposition starts primitive and gets harder with each generation. Somewhere along the way, the sky catches up. So what happens when the most advanced multi-role fighter on Earth takes on the entire history of air combat? And how far does it get before something up there can finally fight back? The F-35A, Mach 1.6, ceiling of 50,000 feet. Its radar tracks dozens of targets beyond 100 miles. 6 infrared cameras give the pilot full spherical awareness. The jet sees behind itself. Its radar cross-section is the size of a golf ball. To anything built before 1990, it doesn't exist. It carries AIM-120 AMRAAM missiles, radar-guided, fire and forget, Mach 4, AIM-9X sidewinders for heat-seeking close-range kills, and a 25mm cannon. We're giving it unlimited fuel and ammunition. The question isn't logistics. The question is, when does the technology gap close enough that the pilot actually has to work for it? World War I, 2,000 aircraft below. The F-35 cruises at 45,000 feet, 20,000 above the ceiling of any aircraft on the Western Front. The radar paints every contact in a single sweep. The first AMRAAM tracks a Fokker at 12,000 feet. The missile is doing Mach 4 toward a target doing 120. The German pilot never sees the launch, never hears the motor. The missile was designed to kill supersonic jets running electronic countermeasures. Hitting a biplane is target practice for a weapon that will never face anything as simple again. The Lightning clears the entire Western Front without descending below 30,000 feet. No risk, no resistance, no awareness from the enemy that anything is happening. Every Air Force from 1914 to 1918, every nation combined, amounts to a single uncomplicated sweep. But even here, something registers on the pilot's workload that will matter later. 2,000 contacts is a lot of contacts. The radar sorts them, the sensors prioritize them, but the pilot still has to approve engagements, manage firing sequences, and maintain positional awareness over a battle space that stretches across miles. Against biplanes, the processing time is trivial. Against faster, smarter aircraft packed in the tighter airspace, that same task will feel very different. World War II, the Battle of Britain, 2,500 Luftwaffe aircraft, Bf-109s, Heinkel bombers, Junkers dive bombers, the RAF defending with Spitfires and Hurricanes. Top speeds around 360. Ceilings approaching 40,000 feet. Britain's chain home radar is sweeping the sky, the most advanced early warning system in the world in 1940. The F-35's golf ball returns get filtered as noise. The Lightning is invisible to the best detection network of the Second World War. A Bf-109 is a real fighter. Good speed, excellent energy management, dangerous in the hands of an experienced pilot. Against an AMRAAM launched from 40 miles away by a target it cannot detect on any instrument it carries, none of that matters. But the 109 comes in groups. Entire Jagdgeschwader of 40 or 50 fighters stacked in layers. If the Lightning ever descended into a furball below 10,000 feet, 50 aircraft with rifle caliber machine guns could fill a volume of sky with enough lead that even a golden BB becomes a non-zero risk. The F-35's advantage is distance. It stays there. The Pacific Theater adds density. The Marianas Turkey shoot 430 Japanese aircraft in a single engagement. The F-35 handles it from altitude, but target saturation becomes a management problem, not a lethality problem. The pilot is cycling between threat groups, sequencing missiles, shots across the scope, crowded with contacts moving in different directions at different altitudes. The jet does the killing, the pilot does the thinking. And thinking takes time that compresses as the targets get faster. World War II falls. Every aircraft from every theater, every nation, every year, but the pilot who exits 1945 is busier than the one who entered 1918. The sky is getting more crowded, more layered, more demanding, and the planes are about to start closing the gap. Korea, MiG Alley, 1953. This is where the tone changes. The MiG-15 is a jet, swept wings, 668 miles an hour, a ceiling of 50,000 feet, the same operating altitude as the F-35. For the first time, the enemy enemy can reach the Lightning's airspace, Soviet pilots, many of them actual Soviet Air Force personnel under Chinese markings, are flying coordinated formations directed by ground-controlled intercept radar. That radar still can't find the F-35. The MiG-15 has no onboard radar, no missile warning system, no countermeasures. The AMRAAM kills it at distance the same way it killed every aircraft before it. But the engagement geometry is different now. These pilots fly in disciplined pairs. They use altitude as energy. They understand the vertical fight, and they're operating at speeds where the closure rate between two aircraft compresses decision timelines from minutes to seconds. The F-35 handles Korea, but it handles it actively, choosing which pair to engage first, managing separation between itself and a formation that can actually reach its altitude, keeping its energy state high enough to disengage if the geometry turns unaffordable. The MiG-15 can't see the Lightning, but it could survive a missile, not through countermeasures, but through raw maneuvering. The MiG-15 has a vicious instantaneous turn rate. An AMRAAM tracking a hard-turning target at close range burns energy following the turn. Not every shot is guaranteed anymore. Some require a second missile, some require repositioning. The pilot's no longer managing a shooting gallery, he's managing an air battle. Vietnam. The MiG-21, Mach 2, and for the first time, enemy missiles. The R-3S Atoll, a Soviet infrared seeker that can track a hot exhaust plume. Primitive, narrow field of view, easily spoofed, but it exists. For the first time in this entire scenario, the opposition can shoot back with guided ordnance. North Vietnamese pilots don't dogfight. They use ground-controlled intercept to ambush from below, fire one pass, and dive for the deck. The tactic's built around surprise, and surprise is the one thing that doesn't work against an aircraft with 360-degree infrared coverage and a radar that tracks everything within 100 miles. The F-35 still holds the advantage. The AMRAAM kills the MiG-29 from distances the Fulcrum's radar can't reach, but the engagement calculus has fundamentally changed. The pilot isn't just shooting, he's managing a layered threat environment. SAMs from below, fighters from ahead, electronic emissions from every direction. The jet's electronic warfare suite is actively jamming, spoofing, and deceiving multiple sensor types simultaneously. The pilot is prioritizing this SAM battery first because its fire control radar is closest to a lock. That MiG pair second because they're closing from the beam where the F-35's stealth is weakest. For the first time, the Lightning is fighting opponents that share its language. Radar, missiles, electronic warfare, data links. The grammar's the same, the vocabulary's still unequal, but the gap is no longer measured in generations. It's measured in capability increments. The modern era. A Chinese J-20 enters the fight, 5th generation stealth, advanced AESA radar, PL-15 long-range, air-to-air missiles with active seekers and ranges that threaten the F-35 well beyond visual distance. The J-20's stealth isn't as refined as the Lightning's, but it's no longer a truck on radar. It's a small signature at a long range. The AMRAAM still has a shot, but the J-20 is shooting back with missiles designed to kill exactly this type of target. Both pilots are now fighting from behind sensors they can't fully trust. The F-35 gets a radar return, faint, intermittent, popping in and out of clutter. Is it the J-20 or is it a decoy? The pilot cross-references infrared, radar, and electronic intelligence. The fusion takes time, fractions of a second, but fractions that didn't exist when the targets were biplanes. He fires. The AMRAAM tracks. The J-20 goes defensive. Chaff, flares, and a hard turn that changes the aspect angle enough to break the radar lock for 2 seconds. The missile reacquires. The J-20 dies, but the kill took 3 times longer than anything in the 20th century. Then, the spike. 4 Su-57s, Russia's 5th generation fighter, operating in a coordinated data-linked formation designed to bracket a stealth target from multiple angles. 1 pair high, 1 pair wide. Their infrared search and track systems are scanning for the F-35's exhaust plume against cold, high-altitude air, hunting by heat, not radar. They don't need to see the Lightning on a scope. They need to see where the sky is slightly warmer than it should be. The F-35 detects them first, barely. The lead pair's radar emissions give them away, and the Lightning's electronic warfare suite triangulates the position. The pilot fires 2 AMRAAMs at the lead pair and immediately brakes hard, because the flanking pair has already launched. 2 Russian missiles are in the air, tracking on infrared, closing at combined speeds that leave single-digit seconds for the F-35's countermeasures to work. The pilot dumps flares, pulls into a descending turn that masks the exhaust plume against warm terrain below. The missiles lose lock. One detonates on a flare, the other flies through empty air. The AMRAAMs kill the lead pair. The pilot reverses, reacquires the flanking Su-57s, and fires again. Both die. 4 kills, 0 losses, But for 6 seconds, the F-35 was defensive, reacting, managing a threat that arrived from an angle the radar didn't cover first. The pilot's heart rate broke 150. The jet won. The pilot earned it. The F-22 Raptor. The F-22 is faster, Mach 2.25 versus 1.6. It supercruises at Mach 1.8 without afterburner, an energy advantage the Lightning cannot match. Its radar signature is smaller, a marble to the F-35's golf ball. It has thrust vectoring, engine nozzles that redirect exhaust to pull turns that break the aerodynamic rules the F-35 plays by. In the beyond visual range fight, the F-35 has a choice. Its sensor fusion is better, its electronic warfare suite is more advanced, it might detect the Raptor first through infrared. It might get an AMRAAM off the rail before the F-22's radar burns through the jamming. Pilots who've flown both jets in exercises say the BVR matchup is closer than most people think. But if the missiles miss, if the jamming works both ways and two stealth fighters close to visual range, the Raptor owns that airspace. Thrust vectoring against a multi-role airframe, the F-22 turns tighter, climbs faster, accelerates out of fights the Lightning can't follow. The F-35's helmet-mounted display and off-bore sight missiles keep it dangerous, but dangerous isn't dominant, not here. The F-35 fought every air force in history. Biplanes, warbirds, supersonic interceptors, fourth-generation dogfighters, fifth-generation stealth platforms from 3 nations. But with each generation, the margins got thinner. The Lightning was never built to be the king of the sky. Alone against a modern fighter purpose-built for air dominance with zero compromises, it meets the opponent it was never designed to beat by itself. Or what do you think will happen? Let us know in the comments. And if you're curious to watch more, check out the video on your screen now. See ya.